Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm writing to Karma is Not Punishment with subtitles from Tsem. So, I first saw this I think in this last video that I reacted to. I'm like, karma's not punishment, but it's always associated with, well, that's karma. As in, you deserve it. As in, you did something to earn that or to deserve that karma. Usually in the bad tense. But as I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? You're not wrong. Karma is not punishment. It's essentially getting what you've earned. I don't want to say deserve, although you can use that word. I like to prefer to say earn because in order for bad karma to happen to you, you have to have earned that. You don't just are granted bad karma just because. You have to have earned it. Also, karma is not always bad. It can be good. It's always just seen as in a negative sense, though. So you could have earned good karma as well. So now, when I first saw this, I'm like, what? Because again, in the Western world, karma is always generally associated with bad. But as I thought about it, it's like, you know what? An understanding of karma as well, that now I understand what he means. But let's go ahead and hear what he has to say.
For the last 20, 25, 30 years, I have met thousands and thousands of people. And they have come to me with many various problems, difficulties. Some are problems that are external, that are made from circumstances beyond their control. Some of the problems are made by people themselves out of ignorance or just, mistakes. Some of the problems are on purpose. And everybody always has some kind of problems and difficulties and issues. And that's the nature of life. That's the nature of samsara, really. If we're going to pursue samsara and materialism and wealth and fame and name and relationships and travel and fun, if we're going to pursue that, we have to understand the nature of those pursuits does not bring ultimate happiness, long-term happiness, genuine happiness, and stable happiness. So if we wish to pursue relationships, if we wish to pursue wealth and career and travel and fun and materialism and getting the latest branded items, and our goal in life is pretty much that. That doesn't make us a bad person. That doesn't make us bad at all. But what we need to realize is those external things that we pursue do not bring ultimate happiness, continuous happiness, genuine happiness, stable happiness. So therefore, when we pursue those things, in the pursuit of those, we will have to sacrifice so much of ourselves. And when we get those items that we pursue, we have to give up so much of ourselves to maintain it. And in the end, those things will be lost, those things will be taken away. Those things will basically be gone.
It says give up some of ourselves. I was thinking give up some of our time. Because in order to get those things, you have to work for it. So you have to suffer if you're still if you're still attaching yourself to things. So, job is not exactly always joyful. So you do suffer to earn something so you can afford something that makes you happy temporarily. So you have to work a job to get the newest cell phone. You have to work a job to pay your rent. Although I guess there's nothing really happy about rent except for the fact that you have a place to stay. It's needed. It's not, things that are needed aren't usually things that make you happy. You need them. Things that make you happy in terms of the materialistic world are things that you don't need. It's sad to say that. And you can say that like food is something you need. Yes, but not super expensive, extravagant food. Like, I don't know, triple star Michelin restaurants or whatever. Yes, they serve food in those places, but they're super expensive, and you don't always have to go out and eat. You can cook. Although there may be some cases where it might be cheaper to eat out. Anyways, I'm wondering what he means by sacrificing some of ourselves, though. Is it time, effort that we have to put into things so we can earn money to buy this temporary happiness?
So therefore, when we pursue external activities or external pursuits for security and happiness and a sense of peace, that will never come. It will never come not because we are bad people pursuing bad things, but we are people pursuing things that has no real substance, that has no real permanence, that has no real ultimate benefits.
I'll say this too. Again, sorry, pausing again. But the key word that I saw there was permanence. I think if we seek to find permanence in something, we will be ultimately disappointed. If we understand that everything is temporary, then I think hopefully we have an understanding that we won't suffer from that because it is temporary. And I think if we have that understanding, it will help in the reduction of suffering. I'm not saying that's the ultimate goal. It's like, yep, everything is temporary, so I am therefore enlightened. No, but if it helps in that general direction, in my opinion, that as long as you can understand that the things in the materialistic world are all temporary, we can see that even the Great Wall of China or the Great Pyramids, the Sphincter. All those are temporary. I mean, they're standing the test of time at the moment, but they're slowly eroding away. I mean, some things last a long time, but it's not forever.
So therefore, if we are going to pursue those things, we have to be in the know, or we have to understand that eventually those material pursuits, those external pursuits will bring some sort of unhappiness, some sort of instability, depression, fear, anxiety, a sense of loss of security. And as human beings, we all have experienced that in our lives. And when we examine carefully where they came from external material pursuits. So when we get ourselves into difficulties and problems, or sometimes the problems are just presented to us, then we're sometimes in a dilemma. And we must use our human intelligence, and we must use our best efforts, and we have to use our best abilities to solve those problems, to solve them in a way that is within the law, that is not harming others, and that also somehow brings an end to the difficulties we have.
I wonder if it would include not harming ourselves as well. Because, now, a bit weird to say that, but, sometimes there could be, how do I say, not in the sense that you want to do that to yourself, but, and not intentional. I don't know how, because, obviously you don't want to harm others. That's very true, but what if causing harm, I guess temporary harm to yourself, I suppose. I wonder if that's, I've never heard that spoken. I would say, in my opinion, I don't, it's really weird because I've not really thought about this too much, but harming yourself, I'd say it's okay because you're doing it to yourself, but at the same time, it's not okay because you're harming yourself. So, I wonder what they would say. The obvious is obviously not harming other people. I say that. Some here has said that. But what about if it causes the harm of yourself? Financial harm, reputation harm, emotional harm, maybe even physical harm. Is that okay? But it's not harming anyone else. I wonder if you'd reason that if you harm yourself, you're actually harming the people that love you because they don't like to see you harm yourself. And mind you, not just physical, financial harm, emotional harm, those things too.
But sometimes in life, even if we do our best to solve a problem, it is really just beyond us. It is really beyond us. It is beyond what we can do. It is beyond our personal abilities, or it's just really way over our head. And so a lot of times I come across people who ask me for help when the problems have become serious, or the problems are about to come, or the problems have just started. I like to talk it through with people. I like to examine what solutions they may have. I like to examine the logic behind it, perhaps the avenues they can pursue. And there are many times that people really have tried their best or really have done their best and they can't solve it. And sometimes some of the problems are beyond just logic or beyond normal capabilities. So I have done many, many divinations. Divinations is using a dice authorized by my teacher to check into people's future. And a lot of times pujas come out. They have to do pujas, they have to do rituals, they have to do some prayers, they have to do some visualization, they have to do some chanting to clear out their karma. Now, clearing out that karma, how is that possible? Lord Buddha said that whatever karma we create, we have to experience it. We cannot experience someone else's karma. Someone else cannot experience our karma, but we have to experience our own karma. Karma is something that we have done that creates an energy that remains potent and that will be triggered at a future time for us to experience that energy. So some people would like to think that karma is a punishment, but karma is not a punishment per se. Karma is an experience of the return of the energy that we have sent out to others or we have done to others. I repeat, karma is experiencing an opening of an energy that we have sent out to others, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral.
I forgot that Swami Teramananda, I remember in that video that he talked about karma. It's not always bad either. And I can't believe I forgot about that.
So therefore, we will have to experience that energy. We'll have to experience what we have sent out to others. And Buddha never claimed to have discovered karma, or he is the one that created karma, or he is the one that recognized karma, and before that, it never existed. That's not what Buddha had said. Buddha is an enlightened being whose wisdom and omniscience has transcended anything within our dimension, within our world. Buddha's capabilities, his perception, is timeless, is omniscient, and it goes back, it goes forward with no limits. So in Buddha's awakened mind, he was able to perceive that beings experience happiness, suffering, anxiety, difficulties, depression, theft, loss, gain. Any experiences that beings experience, beings not only including humans, but any sentient being, any living being, is a result of karma. So whatever people experience is a result of karma. Karma is something universal. Karma is not dependent on a god. It is not dependent on a outer divinity. It is something that exists as a natural, universal law. If you create an energy with your body, your speech, your mind, that energy is stored, and that energy will be there, and it will be triggered by our own actions at a future time. It could be in this life, it could be in a future life. But karma never goes away, it never disappears, it will always continue. So therefore, if that is the case, if we have created some karma to experience some happiness, can that be taken away? It cannot be taken away. But karma created that is triggered open to experience happiness will finish once we have experienced that happiness. Let's say we have the karma to get a nice, red, juicy, sweet apple. Once we get that apple and we partake of it, the karma to get that apple is exhausted. It's finished. So similarly, that simple analogy applies to all workings of karma, which is universal law. Universal law does not need to be created by a being, a person, or a divinity. It exists. It exists. So therefore, if that's the case, what do we do with karma? All of us would like to experience good things we have done and the karma to return, to experience good karma that returns from doing good things. We'd all like to have that. We'd all like to experience good karma coming back from good things we have done in the past. All of us have done good things. All of us have done very good things. So we would like to experience that karma. And we'd like to experience only that. Unfortunately, through ignorance, through not knowing, perhaps through sometimes unbridled emotions, we have also created some negative karma. So the negative karma we have created also we have to experience. And that's quite frightening because some of us, the negative karma and the experience of the return of negative karma is like a landslide. Once it starts, it just doesn't end. It continues and continues. And suffering from as a result of negative karma can be mental.
I'll say this with that part though. Understanding karma, you shouldn't be afraid of it. It is something that you've earned. Hopefully, now don't get me wrong. I think people are going to be afraid of it, but I think it'll lessen the suffering if you understand that anything that's bad that's going to happen to you is because you deserved it. It's weird to say that. It's terrible to say, honestly. You've earned it. But if you can, I guess, understand that, and I have for the most part. It's not to say that I will never ever fear anything negative happening to me, but let's say, depending on what it is, either I understand it, I don't believe I deserved it, or I guess there's that unknown fear part. And what I mean by this is that there's going to be people out there who who are just going to be mean, rude. So even though you weren't rude to them or whatever, I mean, I guess some people could say that past life or whatever. But and then if anything bad happens to you, then it's something, again, I guess the past life is kind of hard for me to swallow because I don't believe in reincarnation. Could it happen? I don't know. All I know is this life, so hard for me to believe in that. But I do believe in karma to the sense that, this life, because if you're mean to people when you're in high school and all of a sudden they're boss, they're going to remember that. If you're nice to them, they're going to want to help you out. I mean, you can see this in kind of an everyday basis, especially I guess like military people. They have a very close kinship for the most part with fellow soldiers, because they all been through it. So, and they want to help each other out too. Anyways, but yeah. So with this current life, you can see the karma that you accumulated, and kind of the karma that you deserved and earned. And if you believe in the karma, then you should understand that whatever you're receiving, whether it's good or bad, is something that you've earned. And I hope that's what can reduce the suffering. You not getting that job, maybe that's something that you say that you've earned, and all you can do is just move on with your life. You just hit that bad karma, work through it, and move on. Look for a different job, apply for another job. So instead of just constantly fearing, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't get that job, what am I going to do now, and start panicking. Instead, just understand that, I didn't get that job, maybe it wasn't for me, maybe it wasn't it, throw it to karma, throw it to whatever, and move on.
It can be physical. It can be both. Mental can be feeling anxiety, depression, feeling a sense of hopelessness, that even things around us are all right, we still don't feel satisfied. We always feel thirsty. We always feel we're missing something. We feel we're wasting our lives. It could be physical, it could be an ailment, it could be illness, it could be sickness, it could be short-term, it can be long-term, it could be an accident, it could be a fall, it could be anything, or it could be both. So none of us wish to experience any suffering. All of us wish to experience pleasant things. from the smallest insect to the biggest mammal on our planet to human beings, all of us only wish to experience the result of good karma. So therefore, if we have negative karma and we're going to experience it, how do we avoid this? What do we do about it? Now, a lot of us can understand that we have negative karma. If we didn't have negative karma, we wouldn't be in this world system, reincarnated, getting sick, aging, experiencing financial loss, ups and downs, emotional loss. We wouldn't experience all that. We wouldn't experience the fear of our impending mortality, our death. We wouldn't be experiencing any of that. So because we have to experience that, and then the biggest one is our impending mortality, our death, where once we close our eyes, everything is gone. Everything we are is gone. Everything we have done is forgotten. Everybody we know is gone. Everybody we have known is gone. We are gone. It's total darkness. So the fear of our impending mortality escapes no one. If you say to some people, you might get rheumatism, they say, yeah, if I do that, I might get rheumatism. But they don't take it seriously because the chances of getting rheumatism maybe are 50-50. Not everybody gets it. If you tell someone, oh, you might have a car accident, well, there are people who've driven for 20, 30 years, they didn't have even a minor car accident. And then, but if you tell people, or you tell yourself that, look, there's something that everybody have to go through and experience, which is death. None of us can escape that. None of us. And the Buddhist practice of meditating on our impending mortality and death is not to create morbidity or fear or some sort of unnatural state of mind where we always live in fear and we can't go outside. We become something like an agoraphobic, where we are stuck inside. The Buddhist meditation on death and impermanence and our body eventually disintegrating is to wake us up, for us to appreciate the people in our lives, the good things we have done, to regret the negative things that we have done and not to do it again, and to use the time we have left for something beneficial, for something good for others, to do something good for other people. So the Buddhist meditation on death is like someone who has a very, very difficult disease that the chances to heal are very slight. And they have a determination, boy, if I get through this disease, if I get well, I'm going to do this, this, this. I'm going to let go of this, this, this. I'm not going to have this fear. I'm not going to have this anger. I'm going to let go of my intolerance. I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to be good. I'm going to just have no more fear. Because
it's kind of the people who not experience death, but who has a life and death experience. I guess that's the right way to say it. Tend to appreciate life a lot more. Most of them. I don't know if all of them does it. And it's kind of very true to the terms of the human experience that when you come close to losing something, you tend to appreciate it a lot more. Or when you know you lost something, you tend to appreciate it a lot more, especially if you can't get it back. So a great example is a loved one. What else? I guess something that was sentimental and that you never really cared too much about because it was always there. But then all of a sudden it's gone. You don't realize, like, man, I really miss it. It is attachment for sure. But for me, nothing necessarily wrong with attachment as long as you don't suffer from it. But most things that we attach ourselves to is suffering. But I think there's ways to attach yourself to something and not suffer. I don't know for sure. But you can appreciate things and you can have sentimental value in things, but you can also let it go if need be. It's not that, how do you say, like taking care of your house or your vehicle or your phone or whatever doesn't mean that you're completely attached to it. It's just that you want to make sure it lasts as long as possible. And if it happens to break, then it breaks. I guess that's a decent way of putting it. Because whenever I buy a phone, I buy a case and a screen protector. Because if I drop it, I don't want it to break. I want to last as long as possible. I'm going to take care of it. These are attachment-like actions, but if it gets stolen, it sucks. I'm going to look for it, and if nothing else, I just got to find a new phone. It's not that I have a complete attachment to it, but it's being able to care and take care of something without having not necessarily attachment, but just not suffering whenever it's lost or gone. Hope that makes sense. Maybe it's still attachment, maybe it's not. It's up to you to determine that. But to me, I think you can have attachment without suffering from it.
It's not the end till it's the end, till you die. So it's like someone who's very ill and who's determined to do everything they can and let go of their anger and their fear and their self-loathing and all these negative states of mind, because time is so short. We don't want to waste another minute on negative states of mind. And how do we get rid of them? We have to just say, stop. We have to just say, we're going to focus on the positive. So therefore, when we meditate on our impermanence and how fragile our body is, and how anytime we can pass away, anytime we can die, when we meditate on that carefully, we meditate that carefully, consistently, and daily, you will see a shift in your mind. You will see a shift in your behavior. You will see a shift in your motivation and your interactions with others. That shift will be more thinking about how not to harm others and thinking about how to be less selfish and less self-centric, and to focus out more on others and doing things perhaps that are beneficial to others, and to spend the rest of our time on something that has ultimate benefit. That is the purpose of Buddhist meditation on death and impermanence. And so therefore, when we have karma, when we have created some karma, I like to use this example of having a huge mountain, a massive mountain, and it's snow-capped. And every summer, the temperature goes up a few degrees, and therefore it melts the snow on the mountain somewhat, which becomes a river. Now in the winter, because it's cold, very little snow is melted. And therefore the river that goes down the mountain and down the valley and through the village is very mild and very gentle and very easy. But perhaps during the summers, that river can be torrential. It can be the water level can rise. It can be quite swift, and maybe even the currents are quite dangerous. And maybe with global warming, it's a few degrees even more. So more snow melts and the river actually rises, and it envelops the houses and the village that's around the shore. So when we observe this, and we see that there's a trend that the river is becoming more and more and more torrential, what we do is we start perhaps doing things to prevent flood. Maybe we can put sandbags, maybe we can dig the river deeper, or maybe before the river comes to the village, we dig tributaries. We dig smaller rivers so that when the water comes, it diverts and goes around the village. So that's likened to karma. Karma is like that river that comes down. If we know that we have done many things that are not very beneficial, we know that there's going to be a lot of karma coming back to us, and we're going to have to experience it. So instead of sitting there like waiting like a sitting duck, we can do something about it. And what can we do about that? What we can do is that we can dig the tributaries around the small little village. We can have the water bypass. So instead of having one river going down the center of the village, we can dig ahead of the village where we have one river going around it, another one going to the left side, to the right side, to the center, and so forth. So you're not having the water recede backwards. You're not drying up the water. You are not building a dam and stopping the water, because karma cannot be stopped. What you're doing is diverting the water. So like that, karma can be diverted. Karma can be diverted by purifying the karma before it opens. Purification of karma is dependent on the four opponent powers. And I think everybody can do research on what that is without me having to go into detail about it. With the 4 opponent powers, if we apply, we can definitely purify or mitigate the karma. And through meditation, through study of Dharma, through holding refuge vows, by holding Sangha vows, by holding Bodhisattva vows, Tantric vows, and holding onto them steadfast, we can also mitigate or purify the karma. We can do purification practices such as Vajrasattva. We can do prostrations. We can do mandala offerings. We can do chanting. We can do meditation on emptiness. We can study bodhicitta, enact bodhicitta or compassion. We can serve our teacher. We can serve our gurus. We can serve the Sangha. We can help monasteries. We can do printing of Dharma books. We can do all of that to purify negative karma, which before it comes, it can be purified. So therefore, that fits into the law of cause and effect, where if there is karma, the karma can be removed, it can be purified, it can be mitigated, it can be extinguished. If we cannot purify karma or extinguish karma, then there is no way we can become enlightened. Since the Buddha taught the Dharma for us to become enlightened, that would logically make us say, well, then karma can be purified. Karma can be mitigated, it can be extinguished.
That's weird, because he said earlier that we must experience karma. There's no way out of it. Let's see.
All workings of karma, which is universal law. Universal law does not need to be created by a being, a person, or a divinity. It exists. It exists. So therefore, if that's the case, what do we do with karma? All of us would like to experience good things we have done and the karma to return, to experience good karma that returns from doing good things. We'd all like to have that. We'd all like to experience good karma coming back from good things we have done in the past. All of us have done good things. Ignorance, through not knowing, perhaps through sometimes unbridled emotions, we have also created some negative karma. So the negative karma we have created also we have to experience. And that's quite frightening, because some of us, the negative karma and the experience of the return of negative karma is like a landslide. Once it starts, it just doesn't end. It continues and continues.
It says that we have to experience.
The experience of the return of negative karma is like a landslide. Also, we have to
Also, we have to experience. Now, I've heard Sadhguru talk about expending karma. With Swami Taratmananda, I heard that karma is infinite. There is no extinguishing it because of the infinite cycles of life that we have. So therefore, there's an infinite number of karma we've generated, both good and bad. Can't remember what Swami Sarvapriyananda says about karma, but I think along the lines of what he said about enlightenment, once, because the world and karma itself is Maya, it's an illusion. It doesn't really exist, but because we believe in this world and this ego so much that karma, we believe karma to exist when it really doesn't. And that's the only reason why karma exists, is because we believe it to exist, because we believe in the ego and because we believe in this world. But once you're enlightened, this world is now an illusion, and so therefore karma itself is an illusion. Lakhani, I remember him using karma as a way to keep people straight, as a doing good in the world and not bad, because he explains that as opposed to the Western philosophies or Western religion, where hell is the punishment, in Hinduism there is no such thing as hell. But what keeps the Hindus, people doing good, is because of karma. If you continually generate bad karma, you will continue to experience bad things in life. So he says here that we have to experience it, but yet there's a way to mitigate it or remove it entirely. So I guess that's kind of confusing. I would say here it's like, so you would think we'd have to experience or something along those lines, indicating that we don't have to. But here it really does it does say that
continue. So therefore, if that is the case, if we have created some karma to experience some happiness, can that be taken away? It cannot be taken away. But karma created that is triggered open to experience happiness will finish once we have experienced that happiness. Let's say we have the karma to get a nice...
Okay, so happiness karma, or good karma, cannot be taken away, cannot be removed, cannot be taken away.
Passion, theft, loss, gain, any experiences that beings experience. Beings not only including humans, but any sentient being, any living being, is a result of karma. So whatever people experience is a result of karma. Karma is something universal. Karma is not dependent on a god. It is not dependent on a outer divinity. It is something that exists. It will always continue. So therefore, if that is the case, if we have created some karma to experience some happiness, can that be taken away? It cannot. Red, juicy, is exhausted. It's finished. So similarly, that simple analogy applies to all workings of karma, which is universal law.
So that analogy of that happiness of the apple that cannot be taken away is simple analogy.
It applies to all
karma,
workings of karma,
including the bad, which is again confusing because he did say towards the end you can purify or negate it. And I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I'm not sure. I'm more in terms of the Advaita in this one, in terms of the fact that karma itself is an illusion. Well, to say it's an illusion, it's just like, but it does exist in terms of the materialistic world, which this body does live in and experience. So therefore, it is real in that sense. In terms of your true self, it does not exist. It's merely an illusion. It's merely Maya. It's merely part of the materialistic world, and not part of. Well, it's part of Brahman, obviously, but it doesn't affect your true self. So in those cases, it is both true and not true, as in it does exist, but also doesn't affect you. I like to think of it that way, where once you are enlightened, karma still exists, karma will still happen, but it won't affect your true self. So this doesn't say that the karma can be negated. It does always exist. It always happened within the material, within Maya itself, and will always continue on forever until Maya is dissipated, or we can become a singularity once the universe is reborn once again. It always and forever will exist. And once all karma is expended, once we only have, you said all karma expended. This is going back to what Sir Guru said about, I think he said 87 times. I think the universe. Well, he said 87. I made the assumption at that point that the universe has been created 87 times. And I think Sadhguru was talking about how once all karma has been expended, the universe will come back to a singularity because there's no more karma in the universe. Come back to a singularity and then explode out again full of karma, and that karma has to be expended as well. It's something along those lines. You have to definitely watch the Sadhguru video, which I don't remember what it is because there's a lot of them. But I hope the general idea is there. Anyways, let me know about this. He's saying that, karma right here, it cannot, therefore in that case,
if we have created some karma to experience some happiness, can that be taken away? It cannot be taken away.
Cannot be taken away. So you have to experience it, meaning that you cannot remove it. But it also applies to
Universal law does not need to be created by a being, a person. We'd all like to have that. We'd all like to experience good karma coming back from good things we have done in the past. All of us have done good
Anyways,
things.
you know, he says that it applies to all forms of karma. But then towards the end, he says the bad karma can be mitigated or removed entirely. So I don't know. This is like I said, a bit of I don't know if he meant it to be like karma cannot be modified, like it says here, but maybe he meant it to be where it can be modified, like he says towards the end, and maybe just probably misspoke here or something. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments though, and especially if you follow this, let me know. Um, Obviously, I don't think you're a teacher. If you are, that would be great. But give me your opinion or what you know to be true, whether karma can be mitigated or removed completely, whether it be both good or bad, or just bad and good you have to experience. I'm not sure. Again, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, that's my reaction to Karma Is Not Punishment with subtitles. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.